Missi is personal friend. She is also an organizer. She is a fellow Twin Cities resident. We have a similar name. She's a lot of things. So welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk to you.
The way that this came about was Missi and I frequently text, and we were texting, and she's like, "Oh my gosh." And she asked me a question. I was like, "Oh, yeah, fire. We're talking about that." All right. So let's just back up. Let's just do a rewind, give people the overview of you and your organizing business and all the things.
Sure thing. I do live in the Twin Cities. I'm in the northwest suburb, Maple Grove, and I run Clear Spaces Organizing. I have a team. It's super fun. We have been rocking and rolling for 6 years. How I
That's
like to say it,
awesome.
because we just have a blast meeting people where they're at, finding out what their pain points are, helping them just make their lives easier. I'm frequently pinching myself, especially the last 2 weeks, just being like, I can't believe this is my life. um,
You've had a really good last 2 weeks. We're gonna knock on wood because you have really been blowing it out of the water the past few weeks.
It has been so fun. Yes, I may have texted Melissa and been like, "Move over, BH1. I'm having the best week ever."
The best week ever. That is a very specific reference that only certain people that are listening to this podcast will understand, but that's okay.
Thank you. Early, late 90s, early 2000s.
That's right. Best Week Ever was one of the best shows of all time, but we can talk about TV shows on a different podcast because I feel like we have a lot of alignment there too.
You see
But
me legitimately close my mouth to stop myself. Thank
yeah.
you.
No, we'll have to do that side podcast sometime because it would be really great. But the thing that I love many things about you, but if you are watching this on YouTube, you can see Missy's just like a sunshiny, like projects just such happiness and warmth. She's genuinely excited that good things happen. And she's genuinely excited to help clients. And there are a lot of different types of organizing. But you and I really align on we like the deep stuff, right? We really like to help clients get underneath the why and the clutter, and that is something that really just kind of feeds our soul. Is that fair?
100%. Yes. Yes, because it's then you're getting to the part where you can actually help the client make real and lasting change.
Yeah.
And that I don't know. I can't even fathom anything more fulfilling than that.
Yeah. It's a great job, and you and I love it. But the first thing I wanna talk to you about is what we originally started this whole text chain on. And you asked me very specifically, "Have you ever done one of those 5-minute podcasts?" And I was like, "Hard pass. No, I have not." So tell us your 5-minute podcast story.
Well, okay, to be fair, you also said, "Is it as horrible as I imagine?"
I did say that. That is true.
And I said, 1000%, and we need to talk about it.
Great.
Here's the thing, if you have been a professional organizer for any amount of time, someone somewhere has done a Google search, found you, and probably reached out to you. If they haven't yet, they will soon. And they'll be like, "Hello, I came across your profile, and we are looking for professional organizers for a free 5-minute podcast on our podcast." And I got those calls for years, and they leave a voicemail, and I just always delete. And then one day, I had some time, and they called, and I answered, and I was just like, "Oh, what the heck? Let's just see what it's all about," right? Like, I figured it probably wasn't positive, but I also didn't think that it could possibly be negative either. So I'm like, let's just give it a shot. So my time loss is your gain.
Okay. So, in general, it's there and there are a bunch of companies that do it, but they will say, "Hey, we'd really love to have you on for a 5-minute podcast about your business." And then I think they make some promises, right? Like, "We'll promote you."
Yeah, like you get
Okay,
to talk about your business, explain a little bit about your industry, and basically they're hinting at you're going to get clients from this.
sure. Okay. So, what happened? You get on the call. Does it happen
Okay.
immediately, by the way?
It does not happen immediately. That's good to know. Okay. So they call and they're like, "Are you interested?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" And they said, "Okay, great. When are you available?" And immediately they want to get a date on the calendar and a 5-minute time slot. But then they want you to be flexible in case they're running late or running early or whatever. So maybe like 15 minutes of your time that you need to be available for. I'm like, "Okay, sounds good." The people that contacted me did not check my time zone, so they actually scheduled me at a time that I was not available and was driving. And when they emailed me the questions that basically they just want to see if you're a legitimate business, right? So you get an email that's, "What's your company name? How long have you been in business? Tell me a little bit about your organizing style." Just a basic questionnaire to make sure that you're legitimate. So I fill that out and I send it back and I was like, "You got the time wrong that we agreed to. I'm not available then. Please, call me at this time."
Yeah,
So that's how it started. I get a phone call while I was driving because it was the wrong time.
of course.
And I answered, And they're like, "Hey, are you all ready for, your podcast interview, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "I'm not. Actually, I'm driving right now, but if you give me just a couple minutes, I can pull over and we can do this thing." And they're like, "Well, we're really running a tight schedule, so you really need to do it quickly." I said, "I'm 2 stoplights away and I will pull over and we can have this conversation." So then they said, "Okay, we just want to verify the pronunciation of your name, blah, 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 verify your city, your company name. Okay, we're good to go." We literally go live on, I think live on the podcast. And then they ask the exact same questions that were in the questionnaire, just verbatim. "What's the name of your business? How long have you been in business? Tell me a little bit about what you do and how you help people. Tell me something people might not know about your industry." And then they're like, "Well, we're out of time. Thank you for your time, blah, blah, blah. You can find Missy. Where's the best way to reach you?" And then I'm
Yeah.
sharing the website. And they're like, "Thank you." And then click, hang up. They're done. Like you're just,
Oh,
yep.
oh, it
And
really was like 5 minute and then over. The sales pitch, I assume, comes later.
yes, gosh, you
Okay.
are so good at this game. Okay, right? So I was just like, "Okay, well, it is what it is." And that was interesting. I move on with my life. About 45 minutes later, maybe a half an hour, it wasn't very long. I get a phone call and they're like, "Hi, is this Missy from Clear Spaces Organizing?" I was like, "It is." And they said, "Oh my gosh, you were recently on our podcast." And I said, "Yeah, like
Yeah, like
about
a half
an
an
hour
hour
ago."
ago.
And he's like, "Well, I just want to tell you that we had people calling in wanting to know more information about you." Which
Unbelievable.
automatically I was like, I mean, why would they call you when I gave them the information of how to
Yeah,
contact
right.
me? So,
Because they're lying. Anyway.
right, it seems a bit untrue. But I was like, you know what? Let's just play this whole thing out. Let's see how it goes. I've got some time and I'm easily amused. Here we go.
I think this is the important part is you were doing this for your own amusement,
Oh, for
okay?
sure.
Like you were doing it, we'll call it market research for me maybe, but you were doing this for your own amusement, not because you actually thought that something would come of it, which we'll
No,
talk about in a little bit.
No, it was really just a lot of curiosity of, you know what? They have called me so many times. Let's just see what it's all about.
Love it.
And so here I am in the midst of their marketing pitch that they're just gearing up for here. And he's like, "I got to tell you, you have some incredible public speaking skills. Do you speak often?" And I said, "Oh, that's such a nice compliment. I do enjoy talking."
Big fan of
And
talking.
right. And he's, "Well, what we do is after each person is on the podcast, we give them a score, a rating on a scale of 1 to 10. And I want you to know that you scored in the top 5%. You got a 9 point something." And I was
Oh
like,
my gosh, I'm so proud of you.
I know my ego is just, so they're like, "Okay. And what we want to talk to you about is coming back on the podcast and doing a 30-minute show 10 times over the next year or something. We really think that you have a lot of valuable insight." And they did pluck away one thing I said, but to be fair, it was a really good point I made that was a little bit distinguishing me from other organizers. And they said, "We'd love to talk more about that with you." And I was like, "Okay." And I said, "Well, what does that look like?" And he's like, "Okay, so there is a cost involved though." And I was like,
Of course there is.
"Okay, well, here it is."
Weird.
And but he doesn't talk about the cost first. First, he talks about all the reasons why I'm so great and how I have a voice that people are going to want to listen to and learn from. And they have a network of up to, what did he say? Up to 40 million listeners, but we frequently, like our average is 21 million. And I was like, okay, it's a podcast that runs, what did they say? 365 days, 24/7, which I'm just like, who? I don't know. I'm still a little confused on who the target market is of this particular
No,
place.
I just don't
So,
believe anything that's happened here so far, but continue.
yeah, carry on. Okay. Then he says, "Because, we like your voice and we think that people would really respond to it, you would get sponsorships. And so that's why we're reaching out. And then that's how we get paid." And I said, "Okay, I would be giving my free time and education for you to get paid. Would you also then in turn be paying me?"
Mhm.
And he's like, "Oh, no." He goes, "What you're looking for is an endorsement. I'm talking about sponsorships." And he's like, "An endorsement is like Michael Jordan." And I said,
Oh, okay.
"Oh my gosh, thank you so much for comparing me to Michael Jordan, but I really don't think we're on the same page here. And if you are not willing to pay me actual cash dollars, I don't think we have anything else to talk about."
Yeah.
And he hung up.
Poor dude probably hears no like 100 times a day. Was there also going to be an associated charge on top of it? Like they're gonna get these sponsorships plus you're gonna pay them, right?
I apologize. It's been like a week and a half. My brain
Yeah.
forgot the money part. Yes. So typically to be on their show 30 times or no, 10 times in the next year for 30 minutes, but then they were going to replay it a certain amount of time because they have all this airtime to fill, right? 24/7 podcast, that it was the exposure and the audience I was going to have was going to be massive. And so typically the cost would be $20,000. But
Oh,
for me, a big special, only 5K.
okay. $5,000.
Then he said, and he goes, and I know that you might be thinking to yourself, I've never heard of your podcast. And he goes, but up until today, we hadn't heard of you either. And I was like, ooh, that is a slick line. I
Good
like that.
one. That's a good one. I would go out on a limb to say it would be more effective for you to go to the bank and withdraw $5,000 and light an actual match to it and light it on fire.
Yeah, at least
And
you
if
would be
you
warm.
videotape that and put it on social media, you would probably have better views than if you actually signed up for the podcast thing.
Absolutely. Because one of my initial conversations with him for even just the 5-minute part, I was like, if I'm on your podcast, will you create like a backlink? Because I was like, even if I just do a 5-minute podcast, one backlink is helpful for SEO. So I was like, I would
Backlinks
be
are good.
willing to do that. Right. And he's like, oh, yes, absolutely. So I went to the podcast website after it was all done. There's no show notes, there's no backlink. So they didn't even do what they promised.
I can think of so many things that you can spend. $5,000 is a lot of money
Do you
for
know
an
how far
organizer.
that goes on Google Ads?
$5,000. First of all, I would say you
3
could take
years.
$500 and do something. I can think of 10 things you could do with $500 that would be more impressive. And that's so what actually, and again, you did this for your own amusement. What bugs me is people that do it and fall for it.
Yeah.
Because I just know so many people who've been taken advantage of in the organizing industry. Obviously, I know more people in the organizing industry, but even outside of the organizing industry. And I hate this feeling because I'm a person that likes to generally believe in the good of people. Like, I don't want to go in and assume everyone's trying to like sham me. But so many of these pitches, what I want people to do is you have to assume it's garbage until you are proven otherwise. That anything you are getting pitched, because the other thing I want to say is think about this. Do I go out and personally cold call people with organizing services? Do I send emails to just random people and go, I think you need your house organized? No, I don't. I have people that find me. I do a lot of things to have those people find me. And do I do some outreach? Yes, to let people know my services exist. But if you are searching for a service that will help you, that's one thing. If you are getting pitched a service, 9.9 times out of 10, I promise you, it's just a cash grab.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And your point is so valid because, if I had been new in my organizing business, I mean, 5K still would have been a ton, especially then.
$5,000 it's a lot.
Right. But yeah, you can just see how someone could get their ego stroked and be like, oh my gosh, they don't say this to everyone. I'm in the top 5%, and whatever. Yeah.
They have a script.
Sure.
They're following the script.
Absolutely.
I don't mean to hurt your feelings. Everyone gets a 9.4.
It was 9.7. Let's just be
Oh,
clear.
I apologize. I'm very sorry. Probably not everyone gets 9.7. That's really good. But I get so angry. And also, it's becoming so much more prevalent.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, you get telemarketing calls. Actually, I don't anymore because I turned on the if you're not in my contacts, you don't come in
You don't
setting.
include.
But
Yeah.
there are so many things that have your number. There are so many scams out there. And you know how they say like telemarketers wouldn't exist if it didn't work for
Right.
someone.
Yeah.
Someone is falling for this because it's a business that makes money somehow. Don't be the
Yeah.
person that falls for it
Absolutely.
because it's garbage. And I assume that you, like me, are also getting, I mean, at this point, it's multiple times a day. It just hurts my head. The messages on Facebook saying you're about to get, your profile is in violation of copyright and it's about to be
Yeah.
taken down.
You need to click
Scams.
here. Yeah. Right.
Meta, trust me, because I know people this has happened to also. If they decide that they're going to get rid of your account, it's just going to disappear.
Mhm.
They're not going to give you a warning. Yeah, no, your account's just going to be gone. You are not going to get a message from them, and you're definitely not going to get an email from them at a gmail.com address. That is the number one way I think that people can check some of these things out too, is if someone is emailing you
Yeah.
and it is just a gmail.com address, delete
Mhm.
immediately.
Or some other weird .com that doesn't match what they're asking for. Like, it's
Also
just
that.
yeah. I have one dear, lovely client, and I spend time every single time I'm at their house going through their phone and reporting junk, all of the text messages that they're receiving. Cause I'm just like, don't click on any of
Don't click
this.
on it. Yeah. The other ones are Amazon and USPS. You have a package that can't be delivered.
Oh, yeah,
Those are
yeah.
all scams.
Yep.
The other one, and I can't remember if I talked about it on the last 2, because this will be our 3rd scam update podcast, which is sad that we have to do that many. But the other one that I'm seeing a lot is you will get a very official looking thing in the mail that says your business name, like you have to renew your LLC, otherwise it
Yes.
will be canceled. All
Yes.
fake.
Yes.
All fake.
100%. The first time I got it, I scanned it and sent it to my accountant, and I was like, "Didn't we set it up so that we only had to pay once rather than
Scam.
annually?" And yeah, do not pay that.
Yeah. Because that and those are very expensive. Like, I got one the other day for something for Inspired Organizer, like a trademark, and I did get scared for a minute, and I'm like, "No, I know this is a scam, but I still wanna make sure," and it is. It's
Right.
just it's a total like, I checked, and we weren't even within the window of when you had to renew, blah, blah, blah. They were saying it was $1,000, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Nope, it's free. Like, they're all scams. So, I
I think
just want people to be super cynical.
yeah, I'm so glad you brought up that last one because I think that one is the sneakiest because if this is your first business, which for most of us it is, you're not used to some of that paperwork and it looks very official.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you don't realize unless you read the fine print, which so many people do not. For
Mhm.
instance, I probably owe Apple, like my house, my dog, my kids. I've never read terms and conditions, right? But if you don't read the fine print, like every single one of those things, they're required to say, this is not from the government. This, you are not required to do this, but they put it so teeny tiny and they
Mhm.
bury it so that you typically not going to read it. So
Right.
just want
Sneaky little
people
guys.
to be more cynical. Okay, so the bottom line on these 5-minute podcasts, though, and again, there are a lot of companies that do it. I understand why it feels compelling.
Mhm.
It is just a sales pitch. You are not going to get anything from it. You're not even going to get a backlink from it. What you're going to get is, yes, it's only 5 minutes, and then the subsequent, follow up harassing sales phone calls.
Yeah.
So it's only 5 minutes. But my argument is always going to be, could you have spent that 5 minutes putting up 3 Google business posts? Yes, you could. It
Mhm.
takes about 30 seconds, 30 to 90 seconds to do a Google business post. Would that be a more useful use of your 5 minutes? Absolutely. I mean, honestly, sitting on the couch for 5 minutes might have been a more useful use of your time. So
Right.
just say no. And if podcasts are something that you're interested in, because legitimate podcasts will give you a backlink. And like when Missy is going to be on this podcast, I will put her on the Pro Organizer Studio website. She will be on my social media. She will get a backlink to her business. A legit podcast will do all those things. Go search out legit podcasts in your backyard. Because the other thing I'm going to always tell people is, Missy, you are a local organizer. You are looking for local organizing clients. Being
Mhm.
on a national podcast is only useful to you if it helps your SEO in some way and helps people find you in your local area. So go
Mhm.
find a local podcast with someone talking about mental health, someone talking about, how to organize for busy moms. Whatever your niche is and whatever you focus on, go find a podcast that talks about that because trust me, they're out there. Anything else you want to share from this awesome experience that you enjoyed very much?
No, I think my favorite part though was being compared to Michael Jordan. But
Yeah, that is the takeaway for sure.